Yo, Joe. Talking comics, here's your host. It's A Real American Brian.
Let's read some more G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. Issue number 30. We get another Mike Zeck cover with the Dreadnoks in action here, detailing a plane. Page 1. Darkness. Larry Hama is writing and Frank Springer continues to do the pencils. The Dreadnoks are waiting outside McGuire Air Force Base, not far from Fort Wadsworth, and they spot the same helicopter that shot at them in the swamp. Zartan goes to take a closer look at the helicopter. He walks past the guards disguised as Hawk. The Joes bring back Wild Bill and Deep Six and get them in ambulances headed to the pit. The Joes notice Hawk is acting strange. Fred Broca, or Fred 1, is moving his family, including young Sean Broca in his first appearance, next door to Fort Wadsworth. Cobra Commander gets word from Zartan on what he saw on the Air Force Base. He is convinced that is where the G.I. Joe headquarters is. The Dreadnoks stick around to keep an eye on the base for Cobra Commander. They all complain about their new living arrangement, and Zartan uses his holographic device to change the building into a copy of the shack from the Everglades. The Broca family begins setting up all their surveillance equipment to keep an eye on the activity at Fort Wadsworth. And the ambulances full of Joes pull into the fort and go down into the pit. As they are moving the injured Joes, Hawk walks in and they are all confused. They don't understand how he could have got there so fast after they saw him at the Air Force Base. Billy is going through some Cobra files and has found out how they move his tanks around without being noticed. When Baroness and Major Blood find him, they know he isn't a fan of Cobra and attempt to recruit him to their side. Cobra Commander has asked the Dreadnoks to cut a hole in the fence at the Air Force Base close to the tower. Fred gets a phone call. Since Cobra Commander is convinced the G.I. Joe base is at McGuire Air Force Base, there is no reason for him to be watching Fort Wadsworth. He is ordered back to Springfield. As Fred is freaking out and breaking all of his equipment, the G.I. Joe team is rolling out of the gates at Fort Wadsworth, headed after Zartan, as they have pieced together he was impersonating Hawk at the Air Force Base. The Dreadnoks have done their job cutting the fence, but can't help themselves and enter the base. The Dreadnoks go to town, destroying every vehicle they can see. The circus trucks get to the Air Force Base fence line and begin unloading his tanks and Snap helicopters. Cobra Commander is planning a sneakier attack on the Joes in an attempt to lose fewer resources this time around. The Dreadnoks cut through the landing gear on a Sky Striker and it falls to the ground and explodes. The soldiers in the tower sound the alarms. Cobra Commander sees the explosion and his plans are ruined. They have to attack now. He orders the Cobras to attack the tower. As the Cobra troops are entering the base, they are passed by Dreadnoks headed the other way. Cobra Commander realizes they were the ones that caused the explosion. Before the Dreadnoks can get away, they run into the Joe force that is headed towards the Cobras going into the base. The Joes get word that the tower is under attack. They let the Dreadnoks go and head for the tower. As the Hiss tanks begin attacking the tower, the guys in the tower turn on the searchlights and blind the Hiss tanks. The Snap helicopters begin circling the tower. One of the helicopters shoots out the lights. Then they have the tower itself lined up when suddenly it is blown out of the sky. Clutch and the Vamp took out the helicopter, but now a Hiss tank is bearing down on them. The Joes see Cobra Commander in the Hiss tank. They fire at it, damaging it and causing a wall of fire in front of the tank. Cobra Commander calls for one of the helicopters to get him out of there and stay low and hidden behind the flames. The Hiss tank explodes. Ace, upset he lost his Sky Striker, is told he'll get a new one. Destro and Major Blood have made their way up the coast. Destro tells Firefly they're going to report in at Springfield and act as if everything is okay, to get close to Cobra Commander before exacting their revenge. That is issue 22. Amongst the battle at the Air Force Base, there are a lot of moving pieces amongst the different factions in Cobra. The plots against Cobra Commander are beginning to get closer to him, and he still doesn't realize it. My favorite panel from this issue Baroness and Major Blood walking on Billy and then recruiting him to their cause. Love seeing the Cobras working to take down the commander and take over leadership. This was a great issue that continues to develop the Cobra infrastructure and show us more of the drama on that side. I'm going to give this issue 4 flag points. Look forward to seeing what happens when Destro gets to Springfield to join up with Baroness. That is issue 30. Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video where we dive into issue 31.
That was A Real American Brian. And now you know, because knowing is half the Brian.